It's been a week,
Audio.
man.
Man, it has been a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to be starting this week out on May 12th with it's going to be a great week, hopefully.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll be better than this week. I
yes.
will say that.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
It
Amen.
has got to be better than this week. Bring voiceover down. So we do have some. I just want to follow up on a thing that I said last week because I was slightly wrong. I really don't know what happened. Like I can't unravel it in my brain. But at some point during setting up this MacBook Pro, you can go to internet, system settings. Yeah, that's what it's called
Yep.
now. And you go to internet accounts. You just basically activate the accounts that were, already on your devices. For some reason, the technically working account got renamed to something that I wasn't looking at. So yeah, I don't know how that happened, but we have had a pretty decent amount of feedback actually coming in, that I have completely missed, up until a couple of days ago.
Okay. So thank you, people.
So
we're sorry.
We'll appreciate the feedback. I'm going to answer Robin's question that he most recently sent in. No, I did not fix the sending of the email from that account. I did get your emails, and Scout, I have seen your emails. We will, I'm going to fix the sending, probably tonight because I'll be doing some other stuff in AWS because I'm trying to set us up a streaming server that I can run a script and be like, hey, turn on this, EC2 instance, and then we're done. I'll run another script and it shuts it down and stores an image so that all the settings stay the same.
Can you run that script and make it part of your audio hijack session? So when you start that, it spins up the server, waits for a couple of seconds, and then connects to the broadcast. And then when you end it, it shuts the server down.
Yeah, maybe.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, first I got to test the script and make sure it works. To do the thing that
that'd be kind of cool, though. Like, then you wouldn't have to think about it.
One way I've thought about doing that, because that is kind of the way that I foresee that working at the end of this, but step by step, right? So first make sure the script does what I want it to do, and then I can save an image of that machine so it's not just always on. It's only spun up when I need it and spun down when I don't. Then look at the scripting for audio hijack to see if that's possible. I also thought about Keyboard Maestro or an app that we have not talked about in a while because neither one of us is using it, but I think I may pull it back out. Bunches.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that app.
Bunch is what the app is called. The things that you make with your files, which is pretty straightforward language, is bunches. So I may pull that back out if I can't get something else working.
We'll definitely have to follow up on that. And if you're a Tip Jar subscriber, stay tuned to your email because once we get email sending again and we get this set up, you will be the first to know about this before we even put it on the show. We'll probably email you and say, hey, here's what we're going to try. Tune in.
Let us know if it works.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up. Thanks to everybody that has sent in feedback. I also see a piece of feedback that is fairly recent, like it came in probably within the last hour. Somebody has a question about the backpack from 103. Let me see what that email said.
I bet it's that vacuum seal backpack.
So Brian asked about the backpack that we talked about in 103. I will have to go look up the name of it because I don't remember, but Brian, I will shoot you a reply with a link to that backpack that me and Michael picked up, and I need to actually buy another one for Tia for traveling because we got the tech symposium coming up at the end of May, and then we're going to New Orleans.
Oh, quick side note before we get into more feedback, and we are going to do feedback. It's a feedback-ish episode. We're also going to talk about automation today because I appreciate where Demasi started going with talking about...
Hold on. We're not doing a feedback episode today because I want to play Robin's audio in if I can, so I don't want to do all the feedback today.
Do you want
do it next week?
Do you have Robin's permission?
I don't because I haven't reached out to him on Mastodon. So I will. We'll
I was going to say you could send it to me. I can play it in right now. But if you don't have his permission, we're not going to play it yet.
I haven't even listened to it. It's like I don't even know what it says.
Oh, okay. So Robin, we did get your email.
Yeah.
We'll reach
We
out.
got email. We will do a feedback episode next week and answer a lot of the questions that we've gotten or comment back to some of the things that we have gotten. But again, shout out to Scout, who we were just talking about. Like, what happened to Scout?
Yeah.
Scout has actually been emailing us, and since I've been seeing it. Robin has sent us email. We just got an email from Brian about the backpack, so we'll get that fixed up. But I will have sending fixed over the weekend. Like it'll be done before the start of next week for sure. Didn't get to it this week, mostly because I realized the way that I was about to go about doing it wasn't actually going to work because past me did actually try to fix this. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So it's back to the SES to make that work.
Good old SES. Do you still have sending privileges with SES?
I do.
Okay. So, Demasi sent me something probably 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I unpacked it. And here's the funny thing: is I sent Demasi a thank you message earlier this week. 98% sure he never got it because Siri's a little temperamental.
Nope.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
I did not.
I figured you did because you never thumbs up. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Why is he responding to that message and not the other message I literally just sent him? Okay. Siri must not have. And then I went and looked and didn't see it there. So, first of all, thank you, sir. I think you know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to mention it here in a moment because I have played with it and absolutely love it. It is amazing. So a couple of weeks ago, Demasi sent me some delicious seasoning and a hardback case. And I'm like, what is, because I had forgotten that he was sending this. I'm like, what is this? So I unzipped that hardback case. I'm like, yeah, he probably sent me the microphones. I sent him back. And then I opened it up and I'm like, oh, it's the Insta360 camera that he sent me. Honestly, at first I'm like, well, there's a square here with some missing stuff in it. I wonder what, and I think that's the whiteboard that came with it, I think. I'm not sure. But anyways.
I don't know what goes there. I actually bought that case. Wait, did I buy that case? Yes, I bought that case to go with it. I think that I don't actually know what's supposed to go there in that square.
So some of them come with a little whiteboard that it can focus on, and I bet that's probably what it is. Is one of those accessories. So at first, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm missing something. I'll deal with this later. Well, sometimes you... All right, let's take a little journey down earlier this last week. I called Cindy, who was my boss, and I said, hey, Cindy, just so you know, I posted on TikTok the question of the day that we ask members at ACB Presents, which is our 9 a.m. Eastern community call where we read out the schedule and we ask a question of the day icebreaker. Well, I posted that question to TikTok and it's had a couple thousand views in the last 2 or 3 hours. And people are commenting and leaving their answers. And then I also decided to post in title only a list of today's schedules. So now I'm doing 2 TikTok videos a day and they're getting a little bit of traction. I am going to try Instagram Reels out in the near future and YouTube Shorts just so I have that experience. I'm going somewhere with this. So she said, oh, that's cool. We should probably talk to our communications people and see what they have to say about it. And if we have a TikTok account and, explore all of that. And I said, okay, let's do that. And then I said, well, I'm posting these on a daily basis. We have the regular weekly schedule on Thursdays most of the time. What if we started to record a longer form video and post that on maybe YouTube or something? And she thought it was a brilliant idea. So my moral behind that story is if you don't want more work for yourself, don't open your mouth. But it also gave me an opportunity to put the Insta360 together and get it set up. And I wanted to be on 4K video with high quality video and stay centered in it. And it was a pretty awesome experience. So I'll explain what makes this camera so cool here in a couple of minutes if Demasi doesn't. But I'm curious, did you use the software on the Mac at all?
I did not.
Okay. So the software on the Mac is a pile of crap.
Yes. So let me qualify that. I installed the app for the Mac
Uh-huh.
because it also works with the original Insta 360 link that I have. But yeah, it is a pile of crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrible. That being said, however, and this is where it's important to know your tools, VOCR makes it not as horrible as it could be. So I went through, used VOCR, scanned several of the windows and set it up. And now I have this camera when it's sitting to the right of my MacBook Air. I don't have a MacBook Air. Sitting to the right of my MacBook Pro right now, and all I have to do is pick it up and throw it on top of the MacBook, and then once I turn video on, the camera will move to get me into focus, which is pretty creepy and cool. It is fairly silent. And if I move over to my left or I move over to my right, unlike my microphone, the camera will move around to keep me centered in focus. And that right there makes it an amazing tool. Everyone has said that I look great on the camera. Mallory said that camera makes you look really good or something like that. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, I don't know how to take that one, but I'm glad to know that she liked the way that the camera looked. And so we did some testing with it. Did you ever use the built-in mic on it?
I don't think I tested that one.
Okay. Because I have not tested it yet, but I did do some YouTube searching on it. That mic for a webcam sounds not as good as my Shure Beta 87A, but it sounds a heck of a lot better than the built-in MacBook Pro microphones. So I might play with that over the near future. But yeah, pretty happy with it. Pretty satisfied. I'm gonna play with it a little more. Get some things going with it. Oh, and we set up a blurred background for me. So I cleaned out most of my background, but we did do a blurred background. So when I'm on video, I'll see if some people are not happy with that blurred background, and we'll see how that goes. And in a case where I am on video too, I use a different tool. I set the background in Zoom. I might set a background in the Insta360 software and use that over the Zoom. That way I consistently get that same background, and that may be a better experience as well because it's designed for that particular camera and not generically. So we'll play with
Yeah.
that a little bit, and I'll report back. But yeah, pretty happy, and thank you again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the microphone on that one is supposed to be better, I think, than the 360 Link that I have. And for people trying to figure out, like, why did it, well, one, I've always wanted Mike to get a decent webcam because he's on camera routinely. He's not as much as he used to be, but he's on camera a lot, and I want him to have a decent camera.
Again.
And so I grabbed the Insta 360 Link 2, like early when it first came out. So I got a very nice deal on it. And I looked at it, and I looked at the 360 Link that I had already, and I looked at the 2, and I looked at the 1, and I looked at the 2, and I was like, the 2 is smaller. I mean, the 1 is smaller. I'm more likely to throw that in a bag and take it somewhere if I need it. Michael more likely is not. But also I already have this one kind of set up and fixed, and the 2 isn't. So, you know what? I'll just send Mike the 2. Because I originally bought the 2 and I was going to send you the 1. And I was like, yeah, I'll just send Mike the 2. Like, it's decent. He's going to use it more than I am. He'll get probably better life out of that over the term because I actually have, I don't know, 4 webcams. 4. Count them.
I have 3 here, I think, right now, because you sent me one a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember that one. And then Mallory bought me one, and now I have the Insta 360.
So I technically have 2. I say 4 because there's an iPhone and there's a Pixel that I could also use, which actually I decided just randomly last night after I knocked a little, very lightweight, small tripod off my desk for like the 3rd time. I was like, you know what? It's got to go. You know what? I'll throw it in my backpack, and then that can be what I will use. If I need a camera on the go with the laptop, I will use that stand because it's very small, so it'll fit in the bag and I won't notice it's there. But I have the Insta360 Link. I have the OSB wait, what is this thing? The OBS bot
Oh,
is what it's called.
okay.
4K webcam. This is the original one. Nope, it's the Tiny 2 is the one that I have. Their software is also crap. Just putting
Hmm.
that out there. I actually think the Insta, I think there's a new app for Insta. So there was an Insta app that I first tried when I first got the first link. And I did use VOCR with that one. I have not actually set up anything on the new computer. So I have the controller or whatever the software is now called.
Insta360 Link controller is the name of it.
That's it. So that one actually is a little bit more navigable out of
Oh.
the box with just voiceover than the original software was.
Hmm.
Uh, but I just hadn't taken the time to set up the camera or whatever. But so technically, I actually have two webcams. I have the Tiny 4K 2 from OBS Bot, and then I have the Insta360 Link, the original.
And the Pixel and the iPhone.
And the Pixel
and
and
the
an iPhone and a Pixel 5. And, where's that Pixel 5? Yeah. So phones are good cameras. But the problem you run into a lot of times with that is your phone rings and then your camera cuts off.
Yeah, sure does. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Been there, done that. Even if you have do not disturb, somehow phone calls still end up getting through. Just saying. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know what's up with that. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm just going to hang up and call them back or something."
Call right back.
Yep.
Just right
Yep.
back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have turned that feature off. I think. But yeah. So I sent Mike the link to because I figured he would do just about what he's done. We'll probably at some point get him a tripod, but I figured he would have it on the desk. It probably is going to live on the desk. I doubt he will ever put it in a bag and take it anywhere, even though he has this nice travel case with a cable in it and stuff.
I might take it to convention. We'll see.
Throw it on the back of the laptop, and it works great.
It does, and once you get it positioned right, I like how it magnetically connects to that little mount piece. That's pretty cool.
I really wanted to keep that freaking mount. Like I really wanted to keep it, but it doesn't work for anything else I had. I was like, man,
it's pretty cool mount piece.
Magnets. I'm a sucker for magnets. I was like, man, I really kind of want to keep this.
Yeah, but that doesn't have the magnet in it, does it?
So
or is it in that round base that's on the camera?
Yeah, it's actually in the base that's on the camera.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So,
but that base also well, not the base of the camera. Now here's the difference, and it's also slightly weird. The camera that you have does not have a screw mount on the camera itself. You have to put it on the magnetic thing, and then you get your what is it, 1/4 inch? That's not a 1/4 inch. Whatever inch.
I think it's
your
a
standard
inch or whatever. 3/8.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Screw on the bottom of that so you could mount it onto a tripod or something like that. But the 360 Link does have its screw mount in the base. I mean, in the bottom of the actual camera itself.
Gotcha. Does the 360, the first generation, follow you too?
It does.
Okay.
So here's a weird thing. The microphone is supposedly better on the 2. But the original one is a, make sure I try to get this right. So yours moves, but it only moves in 2 directions. Mine moves in 3.
3 directions, huh?
Yeah. So yours swivels left to right and
up and down.
And up and down. Mine will also rotate from portrait to landscape.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Huh. So,
if I'd have known you were actually going to deploy it and use it, I probably would have sent you that one because that would have made it easier to do vertical video for TikTok. But I didn't do enough.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'll just use my phone for that. That does mean that maybe with our audio streaming capabilities, maybe we'll get Demasi to pull his camera out, and then I'll pull my camera out and video possibly. I don't know. We'll see.
It's actually a topic I was going to bring up. Like, I mean, not necessarily on the show, but we're on the show, so hey, I do think it would be good for us to experiment with some video, just because it gives us another avenue for YouTube gives us another avenue for what's the word that I'm trying to come up with? Dispensing the show. That is not exactly what I want to say, but you know what I mean. Distributing. Yes. That's what I want to say. Distributing the show. So we could put out a YouTube only or video only version to YouTube, and then still have the audio podcast and YouTube.
And then we could clip the video and put it on different, like Mastodon,
like TikTok and Mastodon, etc. Yeah.
I don't know about TikTok. We'll see.
Well, yeah, I don't know about TikTok either because. I think we focus on the Mastodon for now. Maybe at some point Blue Ski.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure because I'm not even using Blue Sky.
I was thinking if we focused on multimedia, it'd be Mastodon and possibly YouTube Shorts, since we're already on YouTube. And it makes sense to drive traffic from our YouTube Shorts back to our YouTube channel because it's all within YouTube. So
that would be the way to go.
And I'm not sold on dealing with Instagram. It's funny. I don't know that I want to deal with Instagram, but I bet Instagram's a heck of a lot more accessible than TikTok is. So maybe I should just jump on Instagram. But yeah.
Well, I do have a potential thought. We'll work out the YouTube stuff first, I think, and then once we have a workflow set for that, possibly look at automating the posting of stuff over to Instagram and go make the show an Instagram account. The only problem with making the show an account is somebody has to actually
monitor
follow it. Yeah, in case people, because people are going to reply. They're going to send DMs to the. I mean, you mentioned you posted this video to TikTok, and then people were giving you their answers in the TikTok comments, and it's like, I wouldn't have thought of even going back to look at this.
Yep, me neither. Until my phone, or I got an email that said, you've gotten 200 likes on this video and X amount of comments. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should go look at the comments. And then I struggled with trying to figure out, because the comments scroll, and I'm not ready to teach someone. I have kind of figured out how to get to all the comments. So if you have feedback about navigating TikTok comments, please let us know. feedback@technicallyworking.show. But the comments, they scroll. So if Demasi leaves a comment at 36 seconds in and Michael leaves a comment at 37 seconds in, the comment that I'm reading at 36 seconds in will scroll to the 37-second comment. So now all of a sudden I'm hearing that next comment. So
that is interesting.
I get why they do it. I don't like it, but
it makes sense.
Yeah,
like, it makes sense why it's done that way, because
it
now
did not
you
make
can
sense while I was trying to figure out.
Well, yeah, because it's just moving, and you have no idea why it's moving. Once you understand it, though, like that is clever in a way, because that is more targeted feedback, because you can see what a person said. They were talking more likely about a thing that just happened in the video. So it's right there. So you can relate those two things together. However, it probably makes it extraordinarily difficult to read comments because the video is playing and the comments are just scrolling on back.
So you can pause the video and scroll through the comments, but that's still not 100% accurate. So if you have any feedback, let us know. Let us know. Would love it. And there is a reply button next to each comment, so I'm trying to reply to people's comments too, which sounds like a great problem to have. But man, replying to people's comments with unique responses sometimes is a little like, that's fun. Let's see how that goes. So yeah, playing with multimedia. We'll keep you informed on how those goes. I have 391 followers on TikTok. Last time I looked, 972 likes across my 65 videos. So if you're on TikTok, go try to find me. It's Payown, Payowyn. I don't know how to search for a user, but that's what you want to look for if you're interested. And we'll keep you informed on that.
Okay. Looks like TikTok does have a developer platform with some different APIs for different things. So that may be a way of resolving that problem. I want you to go somewhere. Go to Surf.social.
SURF?
Yep.
Okay. I will go there. Surf.social. Surf. Join the Surf beta waitlist.
So join the beta first. I'll explain what Surf is while you're joining the beta. It's kind of down the page, so you can probably do a edit VO Command J and jump down there to the edit field. So what Surf is, and it's
I didn't
made.
know that worked.
Wow. We're teaching people things every day on this show.
VO
Welcome.
Command J does. It moves you to the first form field. I
So
always
here,
do VO Command left to right, or I'll go to edit, like go to, yeah, anyways, go ahead.
okay. So let me also just a caveat for people that jumps you to form elements on a screen. So if there had been a button somewhere in the middle there, that was an actual button, it would have hit that button first. So it does
Okay.
not specifically edit fields. It's form type fields that moves you through. But it's, that's typically how I use voiceover. It's interesting. I got another topic on that later too. So Surf.social, first and foremost, it came from the guy who made Flipboard. And I haven't used Flipboard. Apparently it's still around. When Flipboard first came out, it was cool because you could make your own kind of magazine from RSS feeds and Twitter, lists and stuff. I really liked Flipboard. When it came out, I used it for a while. At some point they ran into, what a lot of apps do. They broke some stuff with accessibility. And I was like, screw it. I'm going back to RSS. And I hadn't looked at it since then. But it's from the guy who did, Flipboard, which apparently
Do you
also
have a
is still
referral
around.
code?
I do. Yeah. Type in twit.
Okay. All right. I'll just use that. Perfect. All right. I'm signed up.
I signed up and chose Android. Also didn't have that referral code because I hadn't listened that far into intelligent machines, from this past week. So I just put in intelligent machines 818. And I'll get to what Surf is. But one interesting fact, and I unfortunately don't remember the guy's name because I'm terrible with names, but he was on this past week. So that would have been May 8th. Yeah, I think the 8th, because tomorrow's the 12th, right? Which is,
Tomorrow's the
that's not
11th.
right. Tomorrow is the 11th, so you were right. It is May 7th episode of Intelligent Machines.
Mm.
Here's what this guy did before Flipboard, though. Do you remember Tell Me?
Yes. Yes.
This is the same guy.
Oh.
I didn't realize that until I was listening to the
didn't know
show.
where that guy went.
He's the Flipboard guy.
Oh. Man, now I gotta go listen to that show. I queued that show up at the end of my queue. Now I'm gonna go push that up because did he talk about Tell Me?
He did talk about it a little bit.
Okay. That brings back some memories. Children, ask your
Yes.
parents. Oh,
Yeah, ask your parents. Seriously.
oh,
was like,
1-800-555-TELL. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
We said tell, and here's the funny thing. When he first said tell me, I was like, that sounds so familiar. What is that? What is that? What is that? And you said, yeah, to tell me was like I've always made browsers of some sort, and tell me was meant to be like a telephone browser. It's like, I remember this thing now.
Yes. Yes.
Man, tell me was awesome. But,
Microsoft bought them at some point.
nope.
Oh, I thought Microsoft bought them.
It may have been Microsoft. I don't remember now. I felt like he said somebody else's name. I was like, why the hell did they buy it?
If you want to go down a rabbit hole, go to Wikipedia and look up Tell Me. You'll learn all about it. Man, that was back in the, and to think that was early 2000s too. Like yeah, Tell Me.
Yep.
You remember
Good old
Cha-Cha?
Tim. I do not remember Cha-Cha.
Cha-Cha was you would send a text message, CHA. So they were using the short code there, and you would send them your question. It didn't matter what your question was. And then human people would come back and answer your question in text message. It's what I dove into after I got into Tell Me. Anyways.
Yeah. So Surf is a new product that's still in beta. You can go to Surf.social. You should probably cut that twit out. You can go to Surf.social and sign up for the beta. They're slowly letting people in. I'm going to explain what it is, and I'm going to explain why most of us probably won't get into the beta. Michael may actually get there, especially if he put in his social media handle to one of his more popular accounts. And
I put in Mastodon.
But what Surf is going to be, or what Surf is it's an app, it's a platform that allows you to bring in all of the open web sources. So you can add accounts, from Mastodon, Threads. What's the one we were just talking about? Blue Sky,
Mm.
RSS feeds, podcast feeds, news sources, all sorts of things that kind of basically build, like, I'm going to say the way that I'm thinking about it right now to try to sum it up is like a more modern style flipboard with social media. What they're doing right now, and the reason I say a lot of us probably won't get in is because they're letting people into the beta primarily that are building out, it's kind of lists. I forget the exact name of what they call them, but, so for example, some of the examples he gave on the show is like there's a NBA one that he follows because apparently he's a
Hmm.
big NBA fan. Well, that brings in the hashtag NBA whatever from Mastodon. He also added the hashtag NBA from Blue Sky, Threads. It has sources from the NBA.com website itself, probably ESPN, other people that are in, reporters that are in the NBA space. So you're bringing all of that stuff in and you just
Mm.
basically kind of switch through and look at different topic categories that you want to focus on, but they're all being pulled in from all of these disparate places. So instead of saying, oh, I'm going to follow all of the NBA news on Mastodon, and then now I got to flip over to Blue Sky and see what people are, because not everybody's everywhere, right? It's not
Yep.
like it was on Twitter where you could just follow the hashtag NBA and you got all the news you were going to get about the NBA because everybody was on Twitter. That's not a thing
Mm.
anymore. So he's bringing all this stuff together and including RSS feeds, which I feel like is amazing because not enough people focus
Yep.
on those.
Yep.
So it looks like it's going to be interesting. I signed up for the beta to see if I could get in, and I chose Android specifically because I'm like, I bet he's got a lot of iOS people, not as many Android. So that may make me stand out a bit.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think about that. So I picked iPhone because that's what I'm using right now.
Yeah,
But
but you
you
also
know,
have more followers and are more
yeah,
active on social media than I am. So I knew that
right.
was going to ding me because it's like, but what I'm really thinking about if either one of us gets in is we could, one, I want to look at the accessibility. That's the other reason I kind of picked Android, but I
Yep.
want to look at the accessibility of the platform and make sure that that gets taken care of and is a focus for them. And I'm probably going to drop an email to them also just to kind of mention that. Whether I get in or not. But here's an opportunity for us to build some different or be involved in building some different category feeds up. Like, that we always have people, and one reason I know a lot of people are still on X today is because a lot of the blind community is still there. A lot of those good follows from the blind community, from the accessibility community are still on Twitter. But we could build out an accessibility category that follows a lot of the web developers or the people involved in
Yep.
UX and design. And so I'm thinking about that, which is one of the reasons that I signed up for the beta. I'm like, it might take me a while and I'll be pulling sources from everybody like, hey, who would you recommend following on Blue Sky for this? But it looks like it's going to be interesting. The reason they're letting a lot more people in right now that are building out these, I keep saying lists. That's not exactly what they call them, but building out these lists is because when they open it, when it's actually released to the public, they want people to come in and have some things to already follow. So if you're not going
Uh,
to sit there and curate your own thing, there will be a lot of curated stuff there for you already. You can still
so
curate your own thing.
so they're kind of like Blue Sky starter packs, if you're familiar with those, but
Yep.
more across the web. That is cool. Oh man. Hopefully it'll be accessible, but okay. Well, I am signed up and I'm kind of excited about social/news again. It'd be so nice to go to one place, open one tool and say, oh, here's what happened in the blindness community in the last 24 hours or something, instead of, oh, that's what so and so had for breakfast last week. I don't really care. I just want to get an update on the news. Like, I
Yeah.
appreciate that you post that and that's cool, but that's not the information that I'm looking for when I go to this particular social network to check in and see what's going on.
Shots fired at the Mastodon feed.
Yep. Yep. Just saying. Pay
But
on
yeah,
dragonscave.space. Feel free to follow me.
but that's what really piqued my interest. It's like, oh, I could, there's gonna be some stuff there when it comes out that I'm pretty sure is gonna be well curated already. But being able to build a custom news feed, like, a general feed for me would include some text sources, certain, I'm not gonna say political, certain follows from politics, which are going to give me like what's happening with the legislature. I'm not really involved in the politics, like the political aspects. So just like what the hell is going on today? Other news sources, maybe a little bit from, I don't really follow movie star people, so I kind of don't care about that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But accessibility things, what's happening in web development, what has Google done? Like that could be a general feed, and then maybe some more tailored, specified stuff for tech news, specifically, or small business stuff.
Right?
It looks really interesting. Like I heard about Surf prior to this, and kind of like when you listen to Intelligent Machines, Leo's going to say, "Oh, so I had it wrong." Well, I had it wrong too, because I thought it was like, "Oh, here's a way," basically to kind of, "Oh, I'm going to pull in all the stuff from one." Basically, I thought it was going to be just an app. It's sort of like that app that not Code Factory, Icon Factory put out that lets you add threads in Mastodon and I think Blue Sky too now.
Yep.
But it's just like a reader app, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. That's not cool.
Because then you had to bounce over to those apps to respond to
actually
anything.
respond, right?
Yeah. Tapestry.
Yep. Hadn't even looked at it, but it just seemed like, oh, it's going to pull all the feeds in together. It's like, nah, I'm on curation. Like, this is cool though. This really sounds cool. I'm excited for it to come out. And I hadn't been excited about social and news and anything like that. I've actually been. Twitter lists were amazing. Somebody mentions that on Intelligent Machines, like, Twitter lists, like they were an amazing thing 10 years ago or so, or earlier. It got to a point where they kind of, no,
I was going to ask you a question. Go ahead.
Oh, but yeah, looking forward to Surf coming out. This is going to be fun again, I think.
Did he say if you can subscribe to your Surf list via RSS? I know that sounds a little meta.
He didn't say. Nobody asked that question, and he didn't say. I would expect that if it's not there at launch, it's a feature they will add.
Because if the app isn't accessible, but you could build your list and then you could subscribe to it via RSS, you could drop that into something like Lear or NetNewsWire and then have all your stuff right there in one place, curated through Surf.
Yeah. But if it's not there at launch, I'm pretty sure they will add the feature. One cool thing he showed off is you can take somebody else's curated list and add it to a new one. So like, let's say somebody's done all the work for web accessibility and you just want a more broader accessibility thing or more broader web development. You could bring their stuff in and then add your stuff on to, what they built. So it saves you the time of having to start from scratch necessarily if you're trying to build on what somebody else has already done.
And then, of course, go through and edit that and make it yours. That's cool, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate that, too. See, sharing resources and telling Michael that VO Command J will jump. I don't know why I didn't know that one. Man, I'm very angry with the ChatGPT website right now. Very angry. And they'll fix it, but I am stuck in this damn sidebar. Just saying, sidebar collapsed. Sidebar collapsed. Even if I hit close sidebar, it still sticks me in the stupid sidebar collapsed.
Yeah, I got stuck in there last night.
Yep, it's new. I'm going to go. So I've been using ChatGPT on Windows more. Well, I've been playing with Copilot. I'm not ready to talk about Copilot yet because I'm not going to give it glowing reviews at this current time. Just saying. So, let me play with it for a couple more weeks and then see what I think about it.
How long have you been using it? Are you using it directly in VS Code or are you using it at GitHub?
No.
You're using Office's Copilot, the Windows Copilot, the Windows Copilot. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Yeah. I mean, I want to like it, and I think eventually I might like it, but right now I am not giving it glowing reviews. Everyone says so many good, well, not everyone. I hear people, Steven and Sean, saying so many good things about Copilot, but I am not there. However, I did install the ChatGPT app on my Windows machine. And now if I hit Alt-Space, yes, I know that's supposed to bring you up to that menu bar, but it doesn't. It now opens ChatGPT, and that experience is actually pretty nice to be able to just hit Alt Space anywhere within Windows, type my prompt. When it comes back, I can hit Command Shift or Control Shift C, and then go do with it what I want, and I can tap Escape to exit or Alt Space to exit, and then it closes that window, and I'm back on doing what I'm doing. So where I was going with that is I might finally reinstall Mac GPT. I gotta go find the DMG and install it because I don't like the Gumroad, I think he's using, website to try to just download an app because
it's irritating when I've already gotten it. And yeah. Also, let me check right now.
Mac Whisper came out with a new version. You can now launch a folder.
Mac GPT.
Oh. Have you played with Oh My ZSH?
No.
Okay. I'm starting to play with that a little bit more. I switched back to ZSH from Bash. I switched to Bash for a little bit, and then I switched back to ZSH because Brew wasn't working, because I installed Brew with ZSH and not with Bash, and I couldn't figure out why Brew wasn't working. But then once I switched back over to ZSH, Brew was working right. And then that took me down a rabbit hole of ChatGPT talking to me about Oh My ZSH and the perks that it offers. So I was going to go learn more about it.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about it. Brett Terpstra, I think, has written quite a bit on it, I think, also, which may be the first place I heard about it. But I'm old and I like Bash. So I just, so what I typically do is when I'm setting up a new Mac, I go to my user, I think it's in advanced, and I switch my shell to Apple's Bash first. Also, there's a pretty quick way to fix your Bash setup if you want to go back to Bash. You just gotta put the brew stuff in your bash _profile file. Because right now it's in your ZSH profile.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only reason. But, and update your path, which it'll do all that. I think there's a command to do all of that if you don't want to copy and paste. But I typically do that first. Go switch over to Apple's Bash. Now, I'm going to give anybody a heads up. If you are going to use Bash on the Mac, you should install Homebrew and install, once Homebrew is installed, the first thing I do after that is brew install Bash, because Apple's Bash is outdated and they're probably not going to update it anymore, because the default is now ZSH. So they're done with Bash. So I do that, and then I go back to my user account. There may be some steps in here that I'm missing because I've done this, but I just do it. So there may be some steps I'm missing. However, once you install Bash, if there's anything you need to do in order for Bash to work prior to this last step I'm going to give you, it will be an output from Brew. What you need to do if you need to do anything. But I go back to my user and go to advanced, and then I switch to shell to use the homebrew version of Bash, which on Apple Silicon is going to be a /opt/homebrew /bin/bash. I'm pretty sure is where that is. But it'll pop up in the list. And that is the Bash I'm using. So I'm using the updated version, current version of Bash. But I just like Bash. And like I said, all the servers I connect to have Bash on them. So this is the thing.
Yeah.
Also, I would get down. I know me well enough because I have several files that I source into my Bash profile, like exports and some aliases and stuff. I know myself. I would go down that rabbit hole that you're about to go down with Oh My ZSH. And then I would be super pissed when I log into like a Linux server and some basic stuff doesn't work the way I expect it to.
One of the examples it gave was like setting up aliases to run certain commands. And I'm like, yeah, I want to get a little careful with that because then I'm going to expect other things to work that way and they're not gonna. So, yeah.
It's kind of like when you don't have Text Expander installed and you type a snippet and it doesn't work, or, you know, you first get on a Mac and you hit Command Space and like either nothing happens or you end up in Spotlight and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, you hear Spotlight and go, this ain't right. This is broken.
Yeah. Like if I'm checking out from switching branches in Git, in a Git repo, for example, I am so used to at this point typing Git space CO space and then the branch name, well, -B and then the branch name. well, the branch name, unless I'm trying to create -b is to create a new branch. If the branch already exists, git space co space production, and hit enter. And I'm now in the production branch of that Git repository. Because I have an alias that has existed for more than 7 years now, that is Git, Git CO, alias Git CO equals Git checkout.
Ah.
So there's little things like that I haven't bashed. That, again, you can do all of this in ZSH, but I would get down a rabbit hole and I've configured my Mac for all of this stuff.
And then connect to a server.
And then connect to a Linux server or connect to the Mac Mini over SSH or to a Raspberry Pi, and then like none of that crap works. And I'm like, oh man, I got to go figure out how to install ZSH on a Linux. But instead of doing whatever I SSH'd into the server to do in the first place, it's like, oh, I got to figure out how to install ZSH. And then copy all my files over here because this doesn't work. It's broken.
Right. But what took us down that rabbit hole?
You asked me.
Oh, Mac Whisper or Mac GPT.
Yeah,
because you were going to check to see if it's in.
Yeah, it's not.
It doesn't look like it is.
Yeah,
quick side note: Mac Whisper has batch transcripting now, or a watch folder transcripting. So you can put files in a folder and it'll generate a transcript for you.
Oh, I think I saw this coming at some point. Yeah. So
that's now a thing.
That is okay. Record some audio, drop it into a folder right there. Like, give me a transcript of that.
Shout out to Stephen for telling me that, because I hadn't really opened it a little while. I'm like, oh, well, guess what? I'm gonna go update my Mac list.
Yeah, I should do that. And then once the transcript pops out, then Hazel takes over and is like, yeah, we're gonna add this to your
and then Keyboard Maestro, add that a little bit to your automation too, and then all of a sudden, does everything for you.
I tried. Well, I've been playing around with Joplin. The reason this is coming up right this second is because I was like, I could take that transcript, and depending on what it is, it could get popped into Joplin for me to, supplemental knowledge. Anyway, been looking at Joplin. We talked about Joplin before on the show. I had not, at the last time we talked about it a couple of months ago, ever installed the Mac app at all. I did install the Mac app this week. It worked reasonably fine for the first day. The next day I come in here and hit command space and type JOP, and Joplin comes up, and I hit return, and Joplin opens, and it has no windows, and I have no way to make a freaking window come up. So I installed that. Joplin is interesting though, because essentially it's all Markdown, which I love, so that's great. But the ability to share notebooks or share notes and collaborate on them in what is kind of a more accessible, well, could be. I haven't looked at it on every platform. Like, I haven't poked at it on Windows at all. But what could be a more consistent experience accessibility wise than relying on something like Google Docs, which is very hit or miss and is absolutely terrible most of the time on iOS if you're trying to edit anything or read anything for that matter, because it just wants to that all out as one block of text.
Did you see that they have, because I don't have Joplin installed on the Mac, so I'm, searching through for it.
Joplin CLI, yeah. Saw that.
Have you played with that or not yet?
I have not played with that.
Okay.
But I'll continue to play with it. I am interested in something like this that is a bit more modern and has some sharing capability. That's the main thing. Like there's a lot of siloed things. And as I spend more time in Windows, looking at Android, I want something cross-platform that's workable. That's not just, this is the default solution everybody uses, so I will suffer with, Google Docs or whatever. Because Google tends to be the default platform when you're trying to be on multiple operating systems, right? Like, Gmail isn't, Mail, not so much a problem, but, Calendar, because Google Calendar will work everywhere. Google Contacts, because those are available everywhere. It's not super difficult like it is with iCloud to get your contacts over to a different platform. But Docs is, I actually haven't looked at it on Windows, but I know on iOS it is usually, generally, sometimes we'll have a brief period in time and space where we're like, oh, Google Docs is actually pretty usable on iOS. And then it updates, or there's an OS update,
Hmm.
and it's back to the I can't really navigate in here the way I want to, and trying to write in here is goofy. So Joplin's interesting to me for that reason. I have looked at Notion before. I really didn't like it, and it also wasn't super accessible at the time.
Yeah.
What's the other one everybody was in love with? Well, a lot of people still are in love with in the tech community. Obsidian.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Similarly with that one, not the most accessible experience. When I tried it. Now, granted, this was years ago, but Joplin has a little bit more cachet right now in the blind community. I'm thinking that Bits, if nobody else has been chatting it up with them about accessibility, so that means we're probably gonna, be able to actually make things happen there in places where it's not as accessible, as opposed to
Yeah.
being a single individual trying to go at it with Obsidian, who's like, yeah, but we're still trying to beat these people over here. So yeah, screw your accessibility, buddy.
Right. We'll get to it eventually.
We'll put that on our roadmap.
That's a great feature request. I hate that response.
The AI responds to you.
Yeah. Have you looked at drafts in Joplin at all?
It's funny you say that. There is a draft that I wrote yesterday while I was going somewhere that says, create a drafts action that will send actually, I've made it more complicated. Not really, but more complicated than it really needed to be. Because I was like, make a drafts action that will take any draft that is tagged Joplin and send it to the Joplin application and then archive it. Let the first line be the title of the note, and everything else is in the body.
You could make a notebook called drafts if you wanted to inside of Joplin, and then it's separated, and you can be like, oh, I want my drafts, or have them all in one if that's what you want as well.
And then I tried to run my GPT action, write code action in drafts, and for some reason it failed. I think maybe because I need to update a key or something, but I didn't have time to look. Yeah. But yeah, so drafts is not going anywhere like that. That is my mainstay. Joplin kind of is a place where one is cross-platform. So if I'm in Windows, I can bring that up and use it in Windows or Android in ways that I cannot do easily with drafts. But also I'm looking at more targeted usage of Joplin. Like, for example, a lot of my deep research I've been having Gemini do this past week has ended up in Joplin in a notebook for Spirals, because it's all related to the business of Spirals. But I'm researching security cameras, I'm researching different things. Like, I'll throw all of that in there and keep these notes. And then if I have comments about something, like the scanners, for example, that I have been testing, I have notes that I need to add to one of them. What is this? The Epson one is going back because it's dumb. I don't like it. It's not here. But the reasons why I didn't like it. So, somewhere in the future, if I ever need to refer to that. But yeah, drafts is still where text starts.
Though, yesterday I was playing with an AI, and I like to tell
an AI. Like, yeah. Okay. Is this one of these AIs you can't tell us where it is because it's secret right now?
I mean, it was GPT, but yeah, just an AI.
I mean, it's just the way you said an AI. I was like, oh, like, so we're testing something else now. Okay.
But I have grown to, because I'm using both Gemini and ChatGPT on a fairly regular basis. And I like to tell specifically ChatGPT, because up until about 2 days ago, their interface was so much better. I don't know that I agree with their webpage right now, but that's a different discussion for a different day. But I like to tell ChatGPT, here's the tasks I want to complete. Can you generate a detailed prompt that I can give to another GPT? Side note, remind me to talk to you about naming your GPTs. Here's a task that I can give to, or that I need to give to another GPT. Generate a prompt so you can help me with crafting that GPT to be a good fit for this particular project. And often it'll come back with like 2 or 3 things, and I'm like, no, let's expand that a little bit. Here's some more details, and then I'll read out the next prompt, and then I'll be like, no, I'm going to have these details, and go back and forth for a little bit, and then like this prompt it gave me for working on some automation stuff for work ended up being like 14 different points, and it had this information and that information. I'm going to run with it for now and see how that goes, but I'll take that and I am saving it in a draft, and then I'll go back and I'll use that same prompt. Now there are tools out there that will let you store and retrieve your prompts, but I'm wondering if Joplin could be a good solution for that. And I could just make like a prompt notebook or something that I can go in and say, oh, here's the prompt that I need for this GPT again. Because I'm sure you've encountered this with ChatGPT. I have. You can get a GPT going great, and you can get some responses from it, and it does good. And then every once in a while, it just goes off the rails. Like, I'm like, where in the hell did you get that information from? Like, I don't even know where that came from. Let's try that again. And then it doesn't come back. So then you open a new chat, and then you're crafting your prompt again that you had that was working great. So I think that's how I'm going to start using Joplin, just to experiment with it, because I have it. I just haven't done anything with it.
Yeah, so I with Joplin, I started out syncing it through Dropbox, because I have a Dropbox account for reasons. Well, I have a Dropbox account for reasons. The listeners may not know I have a Dropbox account for reasons, but I figure I should use it. So
how'd that syncing work? Did it go well?
It got everything across once I set it up. I even turned on the encryption, and that seemed to go well.
Okay.
If this turns into something I'm going to continue using, it is kind of incorporate more into my workflows, though, I think I would pay for Joplin Cloud for 2 reasons. One, I like, and I'll have to get the right plan, but I would like the ability to collaborate on a notebook or a document with somebody, because I was like, dude, me and Mike could write our show notes in here, and we would actually have some links for show notes.
Yep.
Hey, it's better than Apple Notes, man. Like,
True.
That didn't work.
True that.
But if not, that, and what I was thinking is like, just start putting ideas in here, and Joplin could be like, I haven't gotten there enough to be like, I'm going to keep it around, so this is what we should do with it. Like, it has to fit in everywhere else, and you're like, oh, well, it's here now, so then we'll use that. But I was thinking, like, if I keep it, that would be one thing to do, is like, start doing a little show prep in there. And, like, it'd be great to just embed like the audio clip that we may want to play in right there or something, like, or Mike, here, check this out, whatever. But I like the collaborating on notebooks option, features there. I do like the encryption, which again, you can do that through the other services that you can sync with. I did turn that on. If anybody's using Joplin and you want to turn on the encryption, read the documentation and follow it explicitly, because I followed it explicitly, so I didn't run into any problems, but their explanation makes sense as to why you need to do it, the steps in the way that they prescribe them exactly. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some problems on your hand. You have to unwind them. Essentially, start the encryption on one device, set that up, let it sync, and then go to another device and turn on the encryption. And then all you have to do is put in your password from the first device, versus you ended up with several. Yeah.
But it's letting it sync part that
they really stress, like, wait for it to sync. Because if everything's not synced, then your keys won't be synced that you need to unlock the encryption. Then you'll end up with 2 different sets of keys, which will run into sync conflicts. So there's that.
Okay.
But yeah, that I could see Joplin being used. And that's the other thing I was thinking about for it too. There are sometimes things that you end up working on and writing at or poking at. And after a while, you got together a nice little thing. It's like, oh, well, I could just share this with somebody, right? Oh, here's a great prompt for this. Like, boom, share that with people. Or publish a page or something. So there's some use cases. I like the idea of putting your prompts in there, because then they're everywhere that you may need them.
Yep. And then
which
I
is
can
good.
install Joplin on the work computer and then pull down my database or whatever it uses to encrypt
Yeah.
or to yeah. Huh. So we'll follow up with Joplin as well.
Uh,
I
the other reason is as a Bits member, I have a spectacular discount.
yes, there is
We
that
can
too.
cut that. Cut that. I mean, I don't know if we got to cut that out or not.
Nope.
I did
Nope.
just
You can
become
keep
a
it.
Bits. I did just become a Bits lifetime member.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I
Like
did.
today?
Yesterday.
Oh, well, congratulations. I still
It
need
has
to do that.
it has not updated the list of how many lifetime Bits members there are. Though it still says 130.
Ah,
Yeah, see, I kind of expected that to automatically tick up and add my name to the list.
yeah,
Yeah, don't see
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll have to
Jeffrey.
talk to the people that be. Yeah. So, anyways, um, I should do that though. I should become a Bits Life member. Anyways, I have not a lot to share about automating work. I know we talked about this. Here's a problem I have, and a problem I kind of need to solve. And honestly, I think GPT is going to be the solution. I have a automated script right now that will cycle through a Google Sheet, and it gets the details I want, and it puts it into the doc into my Google Docs doc in the proper format that I want. It has the heading as a heading level 3 with the time and the name of the event, and that is a link that's clickable to a Zoom account. That's important. We'll stress that in a moment. That takes you to a Zoom account, and then underneath it, it'll put the streaming details. It'll put Clubhouse, and then again, it puts the join information for a Zoom account. My current iteration of this has GPT, Google App Script, grabbing. So what it has is it has a name of a Zoom account in, I think it's column D. I don't remember because I'm not looking at the sheet. It takes that information and it references another Google Sheet, which has a list of all the Zoom accounts and the Zoom links associated with those specific accounts. I think, and I need to go look at my data, but I think there's some issues with that reference sheet. And so right now it works about 25% of the time, at least getting you to the right link. It'll put a link there, but I think there's some issues with that reference sheet. What I did in the interim is I added some columns to the main sheet. And so what this does is it parses the sheet. It goes through. It says, oh, this is on Sunday. Well, first of all, the very first thing the script does is it calculates because we work on a Sunday, Saturday week. So it says, what's today? It gets today's date. And then it gets the day name of today. And then it says, what is the date of Sunday following today? So in the instance of us recording this, it'll say the 11th. In the instance of the show being live, it'll say the 18th. Because it'll do that math and calculate what that next Sunday is, which is great. Then it'll go to Google Docs. It will create a new doc called month.day.year. And that month.day.year is based on the date of that Sunday coming up. So it does all that just fine. Then it goes through this sheet and it says, oh, here's an event that says every week, or it says weekly on it because that information is in a column. So it knows to add this first event at 9 a.m. because it's putting it in chronological order. And it'll cycle through and eventually it'll get to one that's on the 4th Sunday of the month. And it'll say, wait a minute, this Sunday is the 3rd Sunday of a month. So I need to skip this event because it's not applicable for this particular week, which that right there is pretty cool. And seeing that work, I'm like, oh, that saves me a lot of time as well. And then it will go through and keep adding those events, right? So I added a column now. Instead of referencing a page, which are referencing a sheet based on data in a specific column, it actually has a new column that says streaming. And if that streaming has 5, 1, or 6 in it, then the script will generate a link right now it does not work this way. That's my next iteration of this automation script when I realized that only about 25% of my Zoom links were correct. So it's going to iterate when it sees a 5, 1, or 6, it's going to generate the link that says listen on ACB Media 5, ACB Media 6, or ACB Media 1. That text will be a direct link to acbmedia.org/ and then the number of the stream that matches with that specific column. So again, the script is not going to a different sheet to get that information when applicable. It also has either, if there's a Y in the Clubhouse column, it'll put the generic Clubhouse link that we link to get to the ACB Club in Clubhouse. So if there's a Y there, it'll put that link there. If there's no text there, it won't do anything. And I need to set up some error handling. So if there's other text aside from a Y, it's not going to do anything. Or maybe I can ask it to prompt me because maybe I put a T there instead of a Y because my fingers were off by one key, if that makes sense there. And then to the right of that is another column that says Zoom link, and that has the direct Zoom link for the account / meeting room that particular event is in. Now there's pros and cons to this. The pros are that the script should be able to cycle through all of the columns, grab the exact Zoom link for the exact Zoom meeting, and put it in the places that it needs to be. Because I've seen it do this, and it should be able to pull all those details as well. To the right of the Zoom link is the dial-in information. So the one-touch dial, the meeting ID, and the passcode, which goes below the link of the Zoom room in the Google Doc, which is going to become a Microsoft Word doc. We're going to work on that later, but one step at a time. So the pro to that is I'm willing to guess, I'm not going to be a betting man today, but I'm willing to guess that once I get this all set up, and I plan to do this tomorrow, the data is where it needs to be now, but I need to set up the script. And once I get that script going, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fairly accurate, generate the document that I want and give me that information, and it'll be consistent. And then all I have to do is go add the details for events that are not reoccurring, which is perfectly fine, and then get that. That's going to save me a lot of time once that's done. I don't even want to guess on how much time that is. Last week, however, we had a Zoom meeting, 2 Zoom meetings within 48 hours be compromised. And by compromised, I mean they were shared on social networks with direct links to the Zoom rooms. And we want to avoid that. We want people to email us or join the ACB lists group, which is ran on groups.io, in order to get the schedule for multiple reasons. One, so when someone reaches out and says, hey, I want to get in contact with Demasi, I can search for Demasi's name in the mailing list and forward your email to Demasi. And if he wants to reach out to you, he can. Otherwise, I mean, it's up to him, and we're not sharing Demasi's contact information. That's how things work. We don't want people to share contact details because things can get a little weird when that happens. And so that's one of the things. But also, Zoom bombing is a real thing. And with the amount of Zoom meetings that we've had, there's been very limited, comparatively speaking, Zoom bombing that's happened. So ultimately, we don't want those Zoom links to be public. So in my current setup that's not currently set up, but I plan to do tomorrow, when I have to go change those Zoom links to a different Zoom meeting on the same Zoom account, I'm going to have to go change it on every single row that particular meeting appears in that reoccurring sheet. And I'm going to have to change 2 columns, the URL and the dial-in information. Whereas my next iteration of this script, once I get it working the way I want it to, is to go back to referencing, figure out a good way to set up a definition, key pair match, however you want to word that. So if it sees this text in this column, it'll reference this sheet, and then I can always just update in one place, and then all of that information will be updated moving forward. But I think I kind of broke down in the middle of last week when I'm like, this just isn't working, getting frustrated. Jeff made a comment because he's working on another Jeff Bishop, president of Bits, because Demasi brought to my attention that not everyone knows the Jeff that we shout out. But Jeff made a comment to me earlier today, actually, on another programming project he's working on. He's like, "Yeah, I got it to work, and this is working this way, and this is and this is how I solved it." And he's like, "I came up with that by when I went on one of my long walks to just think, because sometimes I just got to go on a walk to think." I'm like, maybe I need to do some more walking because yeah, I have to think about this. But anyways, I want to set this up, get it working in one instance, and then migrate that. So that's my first thing with this. I have continued to expand my automation bug, and I'm not where I want to be with automation right now for the specific tasks that I'm doing. However, I do have two macros built into my default Word template, which that took a little bit to figure out how to do. And I got to go set this up on Cindy's computer as well. So she has these too. But it used to be I would grab the macro that I wanted. I told you about the macro that I created, right?
That's the VBA script, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a recap, we have a main weekly document that heading level 2s are the days of the week. Heading level 3s are the name of the event. The name of the event, when you click on it, is, or I'm sorry, and the heading level 3 has a link in it as well, and that goes to the Zoom room. So we kind of talked about that. In the emails we send, under the heading level 2, we say Saturday's quick links or Sunday's quick links. It'll say 9 a.m. ACB presents, 10 a.m. A message of love, and it gives all of those times with the direct Zoom link. So you can either click those Zoom links or use heading navigation to navigate through the email and find the event, and then down arrow or flick to the right to get a description. Or if you know what event you want to go to, you just click that link from the quick links and it drops you right into Zoom. Those used to take a lot of copying and pasting at the top of the email in Microsoft Word, and then you'd have to change the styling because those are no longer headings; they're just hyperlinks. And so, with the help of ChatGPT, I have a script that goes through, grabs all the heading level 3 links, puts them directly under the heading level 2, because the heading level 2 is the day. So it has the day, and then underneath the heading level 2 that's the day is the list of links that are used as the quick links, and then it goes into the heading level 3s, which has the event titles, and then descriptions are a normal font. So that I used to store that script in a notepad, and I would go and copy that every week or every time that I needed it. And then I'd hit Alt F11 to go into VB script, and then I'd go up and hit insert and then module and then paste it in, and then hit Alt F11 to close that, and then hit Alt F8, and that would give me that particular script that I wrote. And then I'd hit enter, and then it would say, "Congratulations, all of your heading level 3 links have been copied under your heading level 2 links, or your heading level 2s. And I'm like, sweet, that's great. I got annoyed with doing that a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah,
There's
I
got
just
to be a
got
better way
annoyed
to
when
do
you
this.
said it.
So ChatGPT is like, well, why don't you just add it to your default template in Microsoft Word? I'm like, because I didn't know you could do that. So now anytime in Microsoft Word, even if I don't have any links, I can hit Alt F8 and there's that macro. The other thing is we style our documents a specific way, and links are a certain color and headings are a certain size. And so I got tired of going through and hitting the keystroke to make all the links the link style, because they weren't becoming the link style. So now I have another macro in my default Word that says force hyperlink styling for all links, and I hit Alt F8 and then I down arrow once, and that says that macro. I hit enter, and then all the links become a hyperlink styling. So I'm still doing some automation, and I think that's where I got to stop, to tell myself you're not automating as much as you can, because frankly, what I'm doing now saves me a lot of time, even though errors are still happening. And now my primary goal is to figure out that schedule building task, and then once we have a first draft working, we can iterate and make that a little bit smoother and more of the way that I'd like to see it. I thought I wasn't going to talk about my work automation, and I just talked for like 10 minutes.
So a couple of things occur to me. And I actually have not yet taken this approach, although I'm going to. I dropped you a link probably a week ago or so to, what is this guy's name? I can't remember his name, but it was whatever his name was, that blog. He was on Intelligent Machines, Harper.blog. These guys talking about not agenic, coding with AI.
Mm-hmm.
So two things, actually. One, now you've already started with this script, but you could take it to, say, Gemini and say, hey, I want you to, help resolve whatever the issue is or enhance it this way or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing he has suggested is like start off by having it come up with a specification or spec for like what the thing is that you're trying to do. So you get all of the little bits and pieces in there that you need and then say, okay, we got this all put together. And that's kind of what you've been doing with it back and forth, is just not being as explicit. Also think telling it to, cut out all the fluffy crap and focus,
Yes.
on what we're doing.
Here's what you asked for. I'm like, why didn't you just repeat my question to me? Just tell.
Yeah, I didn't. Just give me the answer. Like, stop wasting tokens. You cut it out.
Yep.
There's is a, prompt to get rid of a lot of that crap, that Leo references in this past week's, Intelligent Machines. Of course, they didn't link to it in their show notes, and they need to start doing a little bit more spot checking on their transcripts of their show notes. The host discuss, this was all GPT. I mean, it's all AI did this. Like, I know what happened now. But anyway, I got to find that on Reddit because it removes a lot of the friendly yada yada, to the point that somebody on Reddit, one of the comments he read from Reddit, under the person who originally posted the instructions for GPT, was like, yeah, so I did this and then I typed in what's up GPT and it says error, just waiting for user instructions. It's like, oh, okay. So give you the, like, okay, I need that. I got to go find it.
I just found a Reddit for paste. Anyways, yeah.
But what Harper said, which made a lot of sense to me, and it again, I haven't done it yet because I've been doing other research. I haven't been actually trying to write any code recently, or at least not this week. So I was like, hey, let's work out a spec. Like, here's the specification of what this app is or this script or whatever it is going to do, right? And that's when you're having the whole back and forth and like, oh, well, no, I want to add this feature. I want it to do things in this way, behave in that way. Have it, get it there and then say, okay, write the whole spec for me, review that. And he suggests, okay, you got, say, ChatGPT to write this, go paste it in Claude or Gemini or whatever. Like, hey, here's a spec for something I want you to write, like do the thing, right? Or open up a new window in GPT and switch models to a better coding model. Like, here's the specification of a script or app that I want you to create. Go off and do that. And that helps separate. And I have noticed, like you were saying earlier, that oftentimes in some of these longer conversations with GPT, it gets off the rails fairly quickly. I've also been noticing, and I'm not sure if this is a thing that I have somehow done. I don't think it is, but I was asking about Ubiquiti equipment, right? Because I was under the false impression that I was going to have to upgrade some of my equipment that I didn't really want to upgrade, which was the router, like the Dream Machine. I was like, oh, I may need to upgrade this if I, once this fiber comes in, because I may go up a notch. If they have like two gig, I might go there instead of just the 1 gig. We'll see what they have. So I was like, okay, I'm looking at rebuilding, or not rebuilding, but I'm looking at adding on and making some changes to my Ubiquiti network, yada, yada, yada. Here's the stuff I have. Here, I want you to give me a thorough comparison because Ubiquiti has a lot of new gateways out. And I was like, I don't really want to go try to figure out what's what. Ask GPT. And I did the deep research. I was like, okay, I want you, because I wanted a thorough comparison. Like, give me real breakdowns, like the highlights, but also give me thorough breakdowns of the differences in the features. Because there's like 3 different gateways that, outside of some obvious things, I can't tell what the hell the difference is. So if I need to buy one of these, which one should I buy? I get back after 20, 30 minutes or so, whatever. I noticed a notification on the phone later. But anyway, it took a while to do it, which is expected because it was the deep research, right? Why does it give me the list of stuff that was out? So the Dream Machine SE, the Dream Machine regular, and then the Dream Router is all it gives me comparisons of. It tells me I probably don't want to buy any of the standalone, older, USG gateways, which were out before the Dream Machine things came out. So it was correct about that. None of this new stuff, right? And then it tells me what I should probably buy. It's like, okay. I said, from my own looking at the store.ui.com website, I see like 3 or 4 new gateways that are out. How come these were not included? Oh, you're right. I had that. I was like, yeah, screw this.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to Gemini. I haven't read the Gemini report yet. But I've noticed little things. I've noticed that a couple of times where it just completely drops or ignores existing information for some reason. I'm like, I don't understand what I did there.
Yeah, I like that idea of making specs. I'm going to play with that. Also, in some really quick rabbit holes, I forgot about this website, but you can go to prompts.chat, and that gives you some ideas for how to craft specific prompts, because they've got what looks... Yeah. Yep.
Ooh, do I need a .chat domain?
No, you do not. No,
GPT.chat.
That's probably already taken.
Yeah, now I just want to see if it works.
Yeah, it's someone sitting on it.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get that money. They already paid for chat.com. They ain't got no more domain money, man. It's over. Okay, so you said, hold on, let me go where you just said. You said
prompts with an S, PROMPTS.chat. And you can pick which AI you want to use with it. And then it looks like you can search different prompts. And then you can get the YML for a prompt. And then you can just copy the prompt or see what it is. And I suspect people aren't updating this, which is fine. But it's a good way to take a look at some ways to start prompting GPT to get more of what it is you're looking for and start crafting your stuff. I like the idea of a spec, and I will implement that when I'm editing today's episode tomorrow, because that's what I do is I chat with ChatGPT while I'm editing our episode, because I can.
2 things. There's a Git repo, and I will find the link. I actually have it cloned, but I'll get the link for it. That I cloned.
That one JJ shared with us a couple of years ago?
It might be that one. That could be where I got it from.
Yeah.
But I just pulled it recently, and like there's a lot of new stuff they've added. So
okay.
We'll have the bot post a link to that for people that are interested. And follow the bot if you're not following the bot. For sure. The bot started following Mike. I think we shared that last week. The bot still is not following me, however. I don't really know how I feel about that.
It's a bot that thinks on its own with Demasi typing to it.
The other thing is you should think about in certain instances, and it's just because it would make the conversation, I think, or maybe not. I have found this works well for me a lot of times when I'm having conversations with GPT, is do it in voice mode. And then grab that final text. Like once you're done with the conversation, have it give you a final output of like, okay, let's say you're discussing the spec for a script that you want to write. Okay, now give me the entirety of this. Like I started the script for AWS that way. I hadn't done anything with the script itself. But I did have a conversation about it. With GPT, and we went through all the iterations, and I started out with like, yeah, I want to make a light sales server that'll do blah, blah, blah. By the time we were done, I had diverged so much from the original thing. I was like, all right, so give me back a full summary of what I just, gave you and what the script is supposed to do, et cetera, yada, yada. Partly so when I go back to that conversation, I actually try to grab the script that it wrote. I will remember what it was supposed to do. Without having to scroll all the way back through the entire conversation. But I find that the conversational back and forth is great. And then you can always pop over to writing text or just copy the thing that you need to copy out of there. Because you're sitting right there with a microphone, somewhere close to you, just in your laptop or your earbuds or whatever. But you can go back and forth with it, I feel like, a little bit better, which is one of the nicer features of a lot of these models now, is being able to have those conversations.
You should have the bot share that link later on that I just shared, which is a link talking about it's to that blog post that you mentioned. So my LLM code gen workflow.
Yeah, he's got a second. He got another one up there too.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's pretty good.
Specifically talking about Claude, that one.
Hold on, that might be new. Let me go look and see. 18.
This one says TLDR, brainstorm spec, then plan a plan, then execute using AI code gen, then magic stress outline. Okay. He uses so many emojis. VoiceOver, just don't read me emojis.
Okay, no, this Claude one is new. I hadn't seen that one.
Okay.
Okay, LL Code Gen Hero's Journey is one that I've read.
Okay. Okay, I'll take a look at that one.
Oh, and then my LL Workflow Coaching.
Yeah, that's the one I just found. ATM at the moment.
Yeah. So that one is the first one he wrote. And then the Hero's Journey just kind of gets a little bit deeper into kind of what he's actually doing.
Yeah, I'm going to read these.
I'm going to read this Claude one right here too, because I missed that one.
So this is going to be, I think, probably a big part of the show going forward. About the same as what we've been doing, but if not a little bit more. Definitely interesting content and finding ways that AI can help us with automating different tasks in our life and seeing where that goes. I think that's part of our life now. We didn't talk much about your vending business. Do you have anything you want to chat about before we wrap it up, or do you want to wrap it up? Because we're at about 90 minutes or so.
No, we can wrap it up for this week. I do have some follow-up. I'll get a little more into the notebook that I made with Joplin that hopefully I'll be able to get back to on the Mac at some point, and what I'm doing with that. I did create, I'll tease this bit for next week, and also somebody will probably call me on it so I don't forget. I made my first, actually, ChatGPT project. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, made a ChatGPT project called Spirals Admin. And this project is going to be all about helping to automate some of the processes of dealing with admin stuff. Not much there at the moment. I think I may have one little thing I started on, but we'll follow up on that and kind of what I'm looking at with some of the projects in ChatGPT for sure. Like Mike, I've been using Gemini also. And Copilot is nearly in my future. Not the Windows Copilot, though. The GitHub Copilot inside of VS Code. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And you're VS Code in Windows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Mac OS.
I'm trying that right now. I think I may need to blow away this installation and then do the bits installer from scratch. And just use that.
There you go. Perfect. And we will get back to your feedback. Demasi is going to work on setting up email sending so we can get back to your feedback. Well, either way, we will address your feedback next week as well.
We'll do feedback next week. I also have email sending set up so I can reply to a couple of people directly, because that'll be the easiest way to get them the information they have asked about or answer some of their questions. But keep your feedback coming in. We do truly appreciate it. And I have resolved the bottleneck here, which is misnaming an email account. I still don't know how that happened. It's like, we're not getting any new email. So, and just really quick, I don't know what happened, but basically there's a technically working account that is there, but I think that may actually be a local account, which has old messages in it from the technically working email, which is why I was like, we ain't got any new emails in a while. Up under a completely different account name that I never looked at. It's like, all this email, people following up with stuff. So, sorry guys, we appreciate it. We will, we'll talk more about it next week. Email sending will be set up, and maybe next week we'll tease some early thoughts. Actually, we'll probably leave that for, bonus content for our subscribers, about our planning of the technically working website, because I'm starting to get annoyed that we don't have a website. So Uh, yeah. Thanks to everybody for listening. This has been episode 110 of Technically Working. Man, I forgot. I was going to start the episode with, oh, it's 110. So after we do this one, we're done. It's all over. We did 10 more than the last one. Start a new show. But that doesn't work because we've already told you what we're doing next week. So thanks for listening. This has been episode 110. You can reach out to us in a couple of different ways. You can email us feedback at technicallyworking.show. That's how you do that. We're both on Mastodon. He is Payon, Payown, at dragonscave.space. I am Demasi, Damashe, at technically.social. And you can follow the show bot itself, which will, among other things, let you know when the show is published. Occasionally share links to things that are right now not gonna more likely be in the show notes. And, yeah, probably let you know when we go live, when we start live streaming too. So you may want to follow that bot. It's TW at technically.social. And of course, using the hashtag technically working, is a great way to start up a conversation. Oh, thanks to our tip jar supporters. We said that, but I'm saying it again. Appreciate you folks.
Speaking of those tip jar subscribers, when you find that GitHub Copilot, or not GitHub Copilot, but that GitHub repo, I was going to say, I don't know how hard it would be to set that up, but I wonder if we should show people how to clone that down, because that'll bring down a folder of all the prompts, right?
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days. I don't know if I want to say. You have Audio Hijack, right? Is it working now?
Yeah, it works. It works.
Oh, okay. And you can hear things?
Yeah, I'm using it right now to record.
Okay. Remember, it wasn't working right last week?
No. So here's the thing, right? We both missed this whole thing. Loopback was broken, so I uninstalled Arc, right?
Which that's right. You messaged me about that.
Which I assumed uninstall Arc everywhere, right? But we were still on the call when I was screwing with Audio Hijack and recorded some stuff and was like, oh. And neither one of us caught on to the fact that like, okay, that shouldn't have worked though. Like, why is that working? So yeah, no, I'm doing a normal TW backup session is running right now. So what is not currently working for me, because I have not reinstalled that particular Arc, is Loopback and Sound Source.
Okay.
But Audio Hijack is working. Yeah, I can do a thing on that. I may even try to do it in Windows, because I don't really know how Git works in Windows because I never used it. But yeah, also they're generally, if you want to stay up to date with it, cloning it would be a way, because like I said, I recently fetched the updates, like, oh, there's lots of new branches. Like, they're really kind of breaking this out into specific branches of, like, programming or,
okay.
yeah, like they've broken it out. I was like, oh, they're doing some things.
We'll see if we can get tip jar subscribers.
Yeah.
Because there you go.